In this video, I'm going to talk about how to heal trauma. And this is a really important thing to learn as a human being, to go into your own trauma, your own darkness, your own shadow, you could say, to go in there and then heal those parts of the self that are broken, that are damaged because of the traumatic event that happened or multiple traumatic events. And it's such a vital skill because once we heal trauma and actually have that skill, we are more whole as a human being. We can accomplish more. We have better relationships, better health, and also more success. Because the things that we have experienced in the past, they make certain imprints on your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, imprints in the body, certain anchors that are connected to triggers that prevent us from, you could say, being our best self. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that and how I learned more about doing trauma healing on myself and also working with other people. Is that me and my business partner Julian, we organized a virtual event about trauma healing and personal empowerment. And we interviewed 50 plus speakers that are experts in this field, also related to trauma and personal and spiritual growth, meditation, hypnosis, a lot of different healing modalities to go inside the body to heal trauma, and also how to heal trauma in the mind, you could say, the stories that are there, the beliefs that are there. So we did this whole virtual summit and it was very eye-opening for me. And you can also look at that virtual summit by pressing the link in the description, and you can check that out also. And there you can also get lifetime access to the interviews, and it's very valuable, so I recommend to check that out, and you can find it in the description below. So to continue with the topic of this video, healing trauma. So first we want to establish what is trauma. So it can be defined or experienced from different levels. So let me first start with the mind. So when there is a traumatic experience, what often happens is that there is a negative anchor. So you could say something in the outside world, or a trigger, you could say, that is anchored to a negative, disempowering state. And state you could also see as emotion, energy that is present in the body. And this experience makes a deep imprint. So there is some kind of, abuse or bullying, or maybe it's a rejection, or there is a breakup. And what happens is that there is a connection made between this event and a disempowering state, you could say. And that also creates a certain narrative. Maybe I am unworthy of love, or life is very difficult. Why do people always treat me this way? All these narratives that we can come up with. So I'll dive more into that in a second, but let me just explain the other part. And the other part is that trauma is also stored as energy in our body. So when there is a traumatic experience and it cannot be released in that moment, or the energy cannot be released in that moment, it gets stored in the body, so that then once the survival situation is over, you could say, then normally the body could then start releasing this traumatic energy that is stored literally in the muscles and different, fascia of the body. And this is really important to understand, that it's not only an intellectual thing, but it's also really deeply rooted in the soma, in the body. So it is very vital, if you want to heal trauma, to get in touch with that part of yourself, to go into your body, to start feeling your emotions and all these things. And these are very important aspects of healing trauma. So let me just check my notes that I don't yeah, forget the things that I wanted to say. So yeah, one really important part of healing trauma is to realize that the trauma happened in the past. However, the effect of the trauma is something that your mind and your body, and you could say your subconscious mind, is doing right now in this moment. You could even go a step further to take full ownership of the negative effects, the anxiety, the depression, the feelings of difficulty in your life that you at this moment are creating that. But not from a conscious perspective like you want to create it. However, there are certain processes going on inside of your mind and your subconscious mind and your body that are creating the negative effects on, let's say, relationships, where there is a problem maybe with attachment to other people, maybe too attached, like, oh, don't leave me, or maybe being very cold, which is more avoidant attachment. Yeah, to realize that is to take ownership of that, because these processes are going on, and only when we take full ownership of what is here right now, we can start to really heal it and really go deep into the healing process. If we see it as something outside or not something that is happening right now where we have certain ownership over it, then it's very difficult to heal. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And then another mindset that is really important to understand when it comes to trauma and any negative experience in life, you could say, is that in life and in this universe and in reality, there are no such things as only bad things or only good things. It is always balanced. The bad contains good and the good contains bad. And the reason why I'm saying that is that, yes, traumatic experiences, negative experiences, difficulties in life, yes, they are challenging. Yes, some things you wouldn't wish on anybody in this world. I've read many stories of people who had like traumatic experiences and stuff, and I'm like, well, okay, like some people go through a lot of hardship, especially maybe when they're young, or even later in relationships, and just the things that people do to each other. War, uh, abuse, neglect, also just in relationships, all the bad things that can happen. However, the truth is of these things, once you go into them, once you go deeper into them, there are good things that come from it. It also has benefits, you could say, at some point when you start healing the trauma. Because there are a lot of people that had traumatic experiences and then started to heal them and now are a much stronger person, and now they can perhaps build a successful business around the things that have happened to them in the past, and now they are actually helping other people heal, for example. Or now they can be a better mother for their child because their mother abused them, but now they healed that part. You know, when things have happened in the past, it's good to look at, okay, you know, it also has certain treasures hidden in it. And this is called post-traumatic growth, and I learned a lot about that during the virtual summit that I just mentioned. So just to summarize, those are the two main components. So it has a mind component and a body component. So the next part of what is just really vital to realize, let me just look at my notes, is that the trauma can come from childhood, it can come from teenage years, it can come from, when you're more an adult. Doesn't really matter that much when it happened. The only thing is when things have happened as a child, you want to maybe go into more inner child work. When things have happened as a teenager, that's often just also a response to what happened during childhood. And it's really important to understand that there are different parts at work. So if you go into your subconscious mind in meditation, you can find out that there is not only one part. We often have the belief that we are one part. For example, I am Thomas. But once you go more inside, there are different parts. Maybe one part of you wants to experience deep, intimate connections. And that goal of that part is to really feel that intimacy. Then maybe there is also another part that says, no, I fear the intimacy, and the goal is to protect itself. Can you see how that can be in conflict with each other? So this is also what happens when there is traumatic negative experiences, that these parts are created that start to protect, and these parts are created that are then in clash with certain needs and desires that somebody might have, and then it starts to create problems in their life. So that's an explanation of what trauma is, the different, how can I say, distinctions. So how do you now start to heal it? First step is to start feeling your emotions more. Because when you are out of touch with your current emotions and the sensations that are going on in your body, it is very difficult to start healing, let's say, negative experiences and traumatic experiences, because we have to be in contact with what is going on, because this is also signaling what is going on, and then you can actually do something with it. So that feeling component is very important. And then what you can do is learn, or maybe go to a practitioner who is specialized in certain things like hypnosis or neuro-linguistic programming. And what that means is that somebody can bring you in a trance state. You can also learn this yourself through self-hypnosis. So you go into meditation and you start to really go into a sort of trance state. And then from that place, you can heal trauma much more effectively, to really go into that deeper portion of yourself in that state. And then you start to create more positive states of being that are connected to symbols. Because let me just give you an example, maybe that makes it more clear. So let's say somebody has a negative experience and a traumatic experience where they have been abused, or maybe just a simpler one could be somebody has a fear of dogs, right? Or any other animal. Let's just say dogs. They have been bitten by a dog when they were a child, and now every time they see a dog, there is this reaction. So there is a connection between dog and danger. So what you can do is to go into that experience and then start to really connect something different to the dog. Because how do you want to feel? Okay, the fear is over there, and over here we have a state of acceptance, of really going into a more loving state, because these are just connections that are being made in the subconscious mind that can be healed. Let's say somebody had a I'm using a little bit more simpler examples, maybe that makes it a bit easier. Let's say somebody has like a fear of public speaking, and every time they go on stage, they have like this anxiety. And why is that the case? Because they were ridiculed when they were a kid in school, when they had to say something in class. And now every single time from that moment when they had to answer a question, they were very nervous. And then certain other things happened that then build up to a very big fear of public speaking. Can you see how that can work? And now there is just a connection between seeing a stage and seeing a group of people and fear. So how do you break that? How do you break that cycle? And you can do it in many different ways, but it's going into that experience in your imagination and then looking, okay, there is this experience. What triggers the state? Oh, it's seeing the people. Okay, now when I see those people, what do I want to feel? Okay, I don't want to feel that fear. Okay, it's just I put it a little bit more in the past. The past is to the left. And then you can invoke a better state. Let's say, how do you want to feel? You want to feel confident. You want to feel strong. You want to feel open. And the reason why I'm saying this is that it can be so easy. You know, the trauma is also something that is creating these negative effects. And then this is the way to change them, to change your neurology, to go into a different state of being. And that can already enhance your life dramatically, because you have a different frame, you have more authority over the effects that this trauma has had on you and a different understanding. So, of course, another part of it is really the emotional healing, to really go into the story, to go deeper into the story and go into that darkness, into whatever bad thing has happened to you or maybe somebody that you love, the abuse, the neglect, the breakup, to go into that, to feel that completely, and then to try and create a different story around it. Because how we get empowerment is to create other stories. The past has happened the way that it happened, and it couldn't have happened any other way. And you are not to blame. It is not your fault, because there's often a lot of guilt associated to things that we have experienced. There's this guilt. Oh, was I the person who caused that? This sense of guilt, this sense of it shouldn't have happened. What if I did things differently? All these things. And it's really important to go into that, whatever that is for you specifically, to go into that, to not shun away from it. Of course, if you have a very severe trauma, then perhaps with guidance, because it can be the dark places to go into. But only when we start shining that light into that darkness is when we can really heal. And Carl Jung has the famous quote, right? Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our life and we will call it fate. And this is really the essence of why going into the darkness, into the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and into the trauma, that is the way to heal, because you want to shine the light there. And then it's like, oh, okay, but there's this part that feels broken. Okay, let's give it the love and attention. And then there is maybe a certain narrative of, okay, this shouldn't have happened. But then it's like, yeah, okay, but the past happened the way that it happened, and it couldn't have happened in any other way because it happened in the way that it happened. And yeah, that's something to really realize, because it just happened. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. In a sense, you could even say it's not even the fault of other people. Okay, of course you want to distance yourself from people that have hurt you, but people only do things from their current state of consciousness that they think is at that moment the right thing to do, even if that's hurting another person. And that also comes from their traumas and their baggage. Maybe they got a trauma from their parents, and they got it from their parents, and maybe they were in a war, or maybe they were in a concentration camp, and that's been given down in what they could call generational trauma. And now you are aware of it, and you get the chance to heal it, because you are the authority. You are the authority. You don't have to be defined by the past. There are ways to heal, and there are ways to grow to the next level. And that is really important to understand, that one, it is not your fault. You are not to blame. And that is really important to feel, not only intellectually say. Try to feel it in your body. It's not your fault. This is the essence of self-love. Because all the mistakes and all the things that have happened, it's not your fault. Things just happen the way that they happen. And then, of course, with new knowledge and new experience, hey, perhaps you would make a different decision now. Or perhaps you would do something different than your child self. Of course. That's just knowledge. That's just cause and effect. You learn and you change. But that blaming is not something that really helps. What does really help is taking responsibility, taking ownership, becoming the authority inside of your own mind and inside of your subconscious mind, you could say, to really becoming that authority there. And then from that place, you can really start to heal the deepest things. And that is also a beautiful journey, to have experienced that terrible, terrible thing. And then now you are in a position to start healing it, or even are in the process of healing it. Maybe you could even say at some point that you have healed it. because this is also an important aspect of healing trauma and healing pain and healing emotions, is that at some point we don't want to stay stuck in the healing phase, that it's always about healing and healing. Oh, I need to heal more. Because this is also a story that we tell ourselves that, oh, okay, yeah, it's the trauma and yeah, we have like a victim story. But you are the authority. So at some point you can just say, you know what, I am healed. But it's not just saying it to repress it, but it's more because you have actually done the work and you feel more whole and you feel more whole. And then at some point you can claim it, you know, you can claim that other side of, you know what, I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I am healing itself. You know, connect with your heart. The heart already knows how to heal all the different parts of yourself. Connect with that. So much intelligence and love inside of you, in your heart, that you can access. And that will allow you to heal. And it's a process. Take your time. Not something that you have to rush. You are in this moment while you're listening to me exactly in the right moment, at the right time, at the right place. Nothing needs to be different. And then there's this moment of just accepting. Acceptance. Acceptance. And that's so powerful, just acceptance. On the deepest level, acceptance. And then taking that ownership. And then finding the healing modalities that work best for you. Maybe it's going deeper into your body and learning about trauma release exercises where you go and shake out the trauma and like all those feelings, and that's very powerful. And there were a couple people in the virtual summit that we did that talked about that, how to shake that energy away, and expressing your emotions. That could also be a part, you know, maybe in dance or maybe just talking with a good friend or going to a therapist or going to a coach, you know, that can really help you go deeper. And then, there's a lot of different other ways to do that. So I hope I gave you some new insights about how to think about trauma and also how to heal it. And if you feel inspired, if you think, okay, I would want to work with somebody on healing my trauma and healing anxiety, panic attacks, chronic pain, all these things, then I am available for coaching. So you can look into the description and there you can find a link. You can press it and then you can schedule a call with me. I can look together with you. What have you experienced? Where are you now in your life? What troubles are you facing? Which difficulties? And then we can create a clear strategy of how to go from where you are right now to where you want to go. And then, of course, I can help you on that path to becoming a better self, healing your trauma, and really going for the things that you want in life, whatever they are, the things that you really want, and become the person that you want to be, and maybe even the person that you are meant to be. So we can talk about that. You can find it in the description below. Of course, also make sure to check out the virtual summit and the other things that are in the description. If you have any questions about the things discussed in this video, just leave a comment. Also, I'll make sure to look at them and respond. And that's all for this video. Oh, and one last thing, of course, is if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and also hit the like button if you like this video. And that's all for this video.